Investigative reporter Adele Ferguson's work exposed the retirement village financial trap last week on 7:30. She joins me now. Adele, great to have you in the studio.
Thank you.
Two very powerful stories that we ran from you last week. What's been the response since those stories went to air?
It's been overwhelming. We've had hundreds of emails from people just saying, please help. We are trapped. The contracts were so complex, we didn't know what we were signing in for, and we can't get out.
And so what happens to people? There's been language used to describe this, a form of corporatised elder abuse, but what happens to people? I mean, in terms of their financial position going in and coming out, what happens?
So I'll give you an example. One woman went in, she had worked hard all her life. She spent almost $400,000 on the property 11 years ago. Her health is failing her, so she needs to go into aged care. When her daughter tried to sell the place, she ends up getting told she'll get $81,000 back, which is not enough to get into aged care.
So people are going backwards.
People are going backwards during a booming property market, and they're stuck because they have to go on waiting lists to get into aged care. So it's a real problem.
Now, there's been, I think Rebecca Sharkey there referred to it as a financial, did you say it's a financial instrument? We're talking about a financial product here. So that's the responsibility of Stephen Jones. He said, I think, that he's going to bring up the need for tougher regulations in the sector with his state and territory counterparts. That's not until December. Is that response enough, given what you've revealed?
It's not, and it's all state-based. But what's happened is it's been going on for decades. So in 2007, there was a parliamentary inquiry, a report came out, and it had a set of recommendations. It said if things don't get better in the retirement village sector, there needed to be a banning for the ACCC to look at banning exit fees. Also for the corporate regulator to look at classifying it as a financial product, and therefore it would be regulated by ASIC, and there'd be a lot more regulation. Right now we have a code of conduct that is voluntary, and there has never been a breach. So it's really loose regulation, and it's state-based, so absolutely not enough has been done.
But is there more, given you're saying that it's the responsibility largely of the states, with a weak code of conduct that isn't restraining people's behaviour, can the federal government do anything?
Yeah, they can. So they can talk to the states in December about harmonising the laws, because each state has different sets of laws, so it's very confusing. And they can also classify it as a financial product, and therefore it will come under the auspices of the national regulator ASIC. So you'll have a lot more things that can be done to control it. They would end up being classified as a financial product, therefore licensed. They would have a PDS, a product disclosure statement. So they'd have to go by a lot of regulation.
Now, obviously, this is a sector which I think you said in one of the stories last week, it's been generating huge amounts of money, it's been generating profits. So there's a lot of vested interest in the sector to avoid that kind of regulation. Yeah. So what kind of a push do we need to see regulation, to see that change, to make it a financial product? And is that the only way to fix it?
I think it's a key way to fix it. There also needs to be an ombudsman, because right now, the average age is 81, and you have to go to a tribunal, which is really confronting for an 81-year-old to have to take the operator or the village manager to a tribunal. Many of them don't want to because they fear retribution and gaslighting, etc. So that doesn't happen. So there needs to be many things that happen, but a financial product is a first, ombudsman a second, and having a harmonisation of the laws.
So what do you do if you're in that vulnerable position, and particularly if you don't have family to make the arguments for you? If someone's watching or they know of someone in this situation, before those profound changes that you're calling for, what can they do?
Not a lot. Not a lot.
So, and then finally, then coming back to where you started, if there are people who've seen your programs or are listening to you tonight, what should they do? Just not in terms of fixing their situation, but can they bring their stories, more stories to you?
They can bring more stories to us, and they really should be writing to their state parliamentarians and also to Stephen Jones to get them to do something. Rebecca Sharkey has been banging the drum for quite a long time, and she's been really getting she was saying that she's been getting hundreds of emails and going to see constituents as well. But there needs to be, you know, a concerted push.
Adele Ferguson, every time you come in here, you're battling for people who need it. Thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you.